Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second of these daily Punt morning videos, which I'm finding rather enjoyable to do. I'd say it is a bit of a time saver, not having to do all the writing on mornings like this where I'm trying to sort of get everything together really quickly. I've got to be at Uttoxeter for around about 10 o'clock this morning because I'm going to be working in the ring there. So these really are a godsend that I can just do these videos for you. They save me so much time. What I'm going to do today, Friday race, good racing today, cracking card at Ascot with a bumper at the end of the card that's worth the admission fee alone, I'm sure you'll agree. So I'm going to look at 3 races at Ascot, 1 at Uttoxeter, which is where the selection will be, really like one at Uttoxeter. We'll come to that in a bit, but we'll look at these Ascot races first. First one being the 155. This being the Sky Bet Supreme Trial Novices Hurdle. Is it a Supreme Trial? Maybe, because my old friend Clement Taking Forgan runs here, and those of you that take the Betting Insiders magazine that I write for monthly will know that Clement Taking Forgan is one of my 5 to follow for the season. I liked him a lot last year. I thought he was the standout horse in the paddock for the Cheltenham bumper, and I was delighted when he finished third to Fiona. I think this season, I thought his run at Newbury, where he looked like he would come on for it. I went to Newbury specifically to have a look at him that day. I did think he'd come on a little bit for that run. At the time, it looked a little bit like he was a little bit disappointing for a 3-on shot that he didn't beat Lost in Translation further than he did. But watching it back, having watched it back a few times, and now seeing what Lost in Translation has done since, actually, I think he's done pretty well. Because he isn't really, I would say, built for speed. I think he wants to step up in trip personally. I think ideally, I think the Neptune might suit him more than this. But having said that, I hope he progresses again today. Would I back him at 6 to 5? I wouldn't go near him with a barge pole at 6 to 5, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll tell you for why. It's because in the similar sort of fashion to at the weekend when I was making the case for the new one and My Tent or Yours both being overpriced in the international, and Mellon being too short, it's a case of Clement Taking Forgan has to improve on that Newbury run to win this. Now, there's every chance that he'll do that, but you've got to sort of factor that into a price. So would I take 6 to 5 about him this morning? No, I wouldn't, because you know you have got the likes of Slate House, who has arguably shown better form in 2 runs this season so far and looked quite impressive, I thought, against Somerville Boy. I know Somerville Boy's let the form down since, but you know, that was in a farce of a race where they went across, so I'm not going to put too much down by that. You know, even the likes of sort of Mr. One More and even Blimey, the form that they've shown is better so far than what Clement Taking Forgan has shown. So with that, it's a no bet race for me because I don't want Clement Taking Forgan to get beat. I want him to progress. Similarly, I wouldn't be taking 6 to 5 about him because he could improve today and get beat in the same way, again, going back to the weekend, in the same way that Mellon did. Mellon improved but got beat. So 6 to 5 got no appeal for me whatsoever. A race to sit and watch, but I'm hoping that Clement Taking Forgan takes another step forward. Onto the 230, which is a little novice chase, and again, only 3 runners. Something has to be done about this next season. We cannot keep going on with these sort of 3, 4, 5 runner novice chasers. They're not great spectacles for the public. They're not great betting mediums for people. Having said that, you'll know, again, regulars will know exactly where I'm going with this. I am laying Finian's Oscar at around about 2.1 this morning. As I said at the time, after Cheltenham, I didn't believe that form was that great. It didn't make much appeal in the paddock as one that would keep progressing this season. I thought physically, he still looks like a hurdler, not a chaser to me. It was no surprise when he blew out at Sandown. I'll grant you the fact that the trip was far too short anyway and that this may well suit him better. But even so, his class should have carried him so far into the race, and he was struggling from an early stage there with his jumping. He just couldn't keep up. Yes, he may well go better today, but he's up against 2 opponents here, neither of whom are slouches. Benatar looked really good when he won that Novices Limited chase here back in November. Came with a sweeping run from the back of the field. Looked really good that day. Now, he may not get the same pace today with it being a 3-runner race, but nevertheless, he showed he was just as effective in the smaller field when he was winning at Plumpton next time. And he was loads more in the tank at Plumpton. He was idling quite a bit from some way out, and Jamie Moore actually had to keep him up to his work. So he's improving, and Dolos just never touched a twig really first time up. I thought he was very, very impressive. Now, again, I've made the case in the past that it's not always a good thing for a horse to go ping, 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 ping first time out, because second time out, if they do make a mistake, or third time out, they don't know what to do in terms of getting the landing gear down. It's sometimes in a horse's, they can progress from making mistakes early on, where they know then what to do if they make that mistake again next time out. If they need to get in short, or if they need to sort of landing a bit too steeply, that sort of thing. So it's not always a good thing when a horse jumps as well as Dolos did first time up, but nevertheless it was extremely impressive, you have to say, and he already looks like making a better chaser than a hurdler, and that was always sort of going to be the case, I think. So he's up against two horses here, neither of whom are slouchers. Both of him, I think, can beat him. I'll be happy to take him on at around about 2.1, so I'll be laying Finian's Oscar. Then we go to that bumper, and I could spend 20 minutes talking about this on its own. What a great race. If this was the champion bumper in March, I don't think you'd have too many complaints, to be perfectly honest. There are some absolutely quality horses in this. Gallagher's Cross, big money purchase for Nicky Henderson, has looked oh so impressive in a couple of starts, a point which I've seen, and then winning at Galway, winning a bumper at Galway. Falls into that could be anything bracket at this particular moment in time. Down the bottom, Posh Trish gets a little bit of weight. She too's looked very impressive. She'll want a step up in trip before much longer, but she's looked very impressive in a couple of bumpers. The one I thought was a little bit overpriced was Here Comes the Boom, from Fergal O'Brien's yard, who did it nicely at Cheltenham, and given that Aincheer was all the rage that day, everyone you spoke to around the paddock, this was the horse that kept being mentioned. They won't hear of defeat for this in the last. And although I think Paddy Brennan rather outrode Brian Cooper that day, sort of blindsided him a little bit and got first run on him and nicked track position up the rail. So if you could, I'm sure if you could ride the race again, you might get a different result. But still, Aincheer was oh so impressive at Sandown, first time up over hurdles, despite doing an awful lot wrong. So I thought Here Comes the Boom, who probably didn't get the credit he deserved, I think, for winning that race. And that form is solid enough. If Aincheer could revert back to bumpers for today, what price would he be in this race? He certainly wouldn't be around about 8-1. It'd be half that price, if not a bit less. So I think 8-1 represents reasonable each way value in an open race. Let's not kid ourselves. There's plenty here that are going to progress and go forward. But at this particular time, and without being there today, because obviously you need to sort of be there to get that finishing touch, if you like, the final piece of the jigsaw. I think Here Comes the Boom each way looks a little bit of value. I'll just quickly touch on one then at Uttoxeter, one I really like actually today. And as I say, excuse me, Uttoxeter is where I'm going to be today. The 110 handicap hurdle, 0 to 120, just short of 3 miles. There's a couple here that are heading the market. 147 he's around about sort of 3-1 this morning. Yeah, I get the case for that. He's already a course winner in inverted commas, because he dead heated here last year with Cracking Fine, but was found to have interfered with the runner up on the run in, got demoted. But he is already a winner. My worry with 147 is the ground. It's going to be testing today at Uttoxeter. And I had a lot of snow around here when the snow came a couple of weeks ago. While that's all gone, all that moisture's gone into the ground, and they've had a bit of rain on top of it since. It's going to be pretty testing today. Not entirely sure that's what 147 wants. So with that in mind, I sort of was starting to look elsewhere. Top one, Hatfield, is obvious enough after a couple of solid efforts on the last 2 starts. But Neil Mulholland Yard, yeah, they're having winners now. Still not entirely convinced. They're firing on all cylinders, and taking 7-2 about it doesn't make much appeal. So the one I really like here, a horse that I've sort of followed for 18 months, and there's still more to come from this horse, I'm sure, is Malapai. Third one in is around about 4-1. For me, should be favourite for this. You go back to what he was doing at the beginning of the year, when he was second to Lady Buttons, gave Lady Buttons a fright that day as well. Lady Buttons since has shown herself to be at least, Grade 3 company, I think, and she's in again next week in a couple of graded events. So that form looks decent. She beat Popely's Gull fair and square, idled as well that day a little bit at Southall next time out, and then at Newbury was made favourite to beat Beer Goggles, giving Beer Goggles £1, ladies and gentlemen. So it was clearly well regarded at that point. Had a break since, okay, pulled up that day, something, I think, burst a blood vessel, I think, that day, which is obviously of some concern, but has had a break since. Couple of runs back suggests that the ability is still there and that there's probably a little bit more to come. Was 4th here last time, over course and distance, in heavy ground. Recorded a perfectly good speed figure that day. Even a reproduction of that might be good enough to win this. But I still think there's a bit more to come from Malapai off this mark of 116. I would say there's probably another £10 in there somewhere. And with that, and the fact that he is proven on Uttoxeter heavy ground, he's got enough plus points for me to make him of interest at 4-1 in what looks, in truth, a fairly sort of moderate contest if you take the front three away. So Malapai 4-1. No surprise if this goes off 5-2, 11-4 favourite for me come race time, and he'll be my selection of the day. I thank you very much. I will be back tomorrow with, as usual, it'll be written tomorrow. I will be doing some writing for you tonight instead of getting lazy again and getting the video out. So I'll do some writing tonight because I want to get all the TV races down for you again tomorrow. Hopefully we can keep up the reasonable run that we've had on those over the last couple of weeks and find a winner or two in there. Good luck with all your bets today, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.